Hey guys, it's a beautiful day. I'm in the park with the family. Beautiful Sunday evening. Being kissed by the sun.
It's my life. Lazy. It's my life. I got dirty. It's my life. I wanna shopping. It's my life.
Hey guys, so it's a beautiful Sunday evening. I'm in the park getting ready to deliver my third vlog. Thanks for being patient with me. But it's now time, right? And I know the vlogs are not just about motivational speeches, but sometimes you want to see some fun and games and things of that sort, pranks, whatever it is that they do. But I'm just going with the flow and I'm going where my spirit leads me, right? I'm in a park, so I hope at times it doesn't get a little bit too noisy for you. I'll try to keep my voice a little bit up above the average so you won't have any problem hearing the message. So rising with the tide is all about developing strength in any challenging situation that we might have faced or that we're going through. So that's the topic for today, rising with the tide, because in life there's a lot of things that we face and there are challenges, and we have to learn how to overcome, we have to learn how to forgive, and we have to learn how to grow out of these situations. And that comes from us using our inner strength in order for us to uplift ourselves above certain things and not allow it to just keep us down and hold us down for the rest of our lives. There's a lot of things in life that can lead us to wanting to overcome, to forgive, and to grow. A lot of different situations, but there's a particular situation today that I'm gonna touch on. It's a very sensitive subject. I hope that if anyone has experienced anything that I'm talking about, can gain something from this message where they can rise above the tide, they can gain some strength, and they can uplift themselves and grow above that situation and be their true selves again, right? If you are listening and you haven't been through a situation like that, but you encounter with someone that has been through a situation that's close, I hope that you'll be able to help them, take a few words from what I'm saying and help them in some type of way or the other. It's the subject is related to trauma that you can develop from going through different things, right? So that's exactly what we're going to be discussing. We're rising above the tide in situations that are challenging to us, but the main situation that we're discussing today is sexual trauma. Some might look at it as molestation, which all falls back to sexual term, right? But like I said, the main heading is sexual trauma. Sexual trauma is any type of hardship that you face from a situation that you don't give consent to sexually, right? And this has been a rising situation today, especially over the years. It's just getting worse every day. It's not getting any better. Between men, women, boys, girls, the situation is really getting out of hand. And every time I hear about it, it really boils my spirit. It really boils my spirit, because I for one, I've had a bad experience with this topic, and I know how hard it can be for others. And it's a very unfair situation that people can be such predators for their own opportunity, you know. And a few days ago, I had no idea this is what I would have been speaking about. I had no idea what my vlog would have been about, but this was a topic that tapped me and said, use me. This is what I need you to speak about. Like I've said, I've had my bad experience, and I haven't spoken much about it. Today might be the most I touch on it, right? And I just thank you for your support. And if you're still there listening, I thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for staying on this journey with me. It makes things much easier for me, right? So let's get into it. Of course, I have my notes. I'm a journal girl, right? I don't want to leave anything out. And while reflecting on certain things, I had to make note of some things that I didn't want to forget while I was delivering this message. Delivering this message, like I said, is something that has affected me in the past, but doing it today is something that I have to do for myself. It's something that I have to do for myself because I feel like I've overcome, and I feel like I've grown. I didn't forget, but I feel like I've come so far from uplifting myself in that situation, and that has only been from maybe 3 years now that I've uplifted myself from the situation that has happened so long ago, just to show you how long it can affect a person for. It can affect a person for life. It can affect a person for a short time, especially if you don't get help. It will affect you forever. I never went for counseling, never went for professional help. It just came to a point where I decided that, listen, get up, brush your shoulders off. You got to do this for you, right? Because I was innocent, and usually when these things happen to people, they're all innocent, right? So we have to find that courage to uplift ourselves from these situations. It teaches me also that we as a people have to be more vigilant. We have to open our third eyes, because sometimes these things happen to the people that are closest to you, friends, associates, family, people in your immediate circle. A majority of the time, these are the people that are the predators. And this is exactly what happened in my case, So we have to be vigilant. Especially if you have children, you have to be awake. You have to be aware of everything that's going around your children. You have to be supportive. You have to be communicative with your children and speak to them about these things, and let them know that even though this person might seem like the person that you can trust the most, sometimes that's the person that's preying on you and figuring out the right time to come after you. So that's another important part that I want to touch on. A lot of people that experience sexual trauma experience it from people that are very, very, very close in their circle. So we have to be very careful, and we have to be very vigilant. There are many types of sexual trauma. It doesn't necessarily mean rape. It's not necessarily rape, fully rape, someone holding you down and having sex with you without your consent, forcing you against your will, right? Excuse me, guys. It could be many different things. It could be unwanted touching. It could be kissing without your consent. It can be attempted rape. And like I said, rape, it can be fully rape and not just making an attempt. It can be fondling and so on. Anything sexually that has been done to you, forced without your consent, causes sexual trauma. And that's what we're talking about today. It's also one of the most unreported crime. When these things happen to people, they don't speak. People don't like to speak about it for many different reasons. Yeah, so we were talking about, because I paused the video for a minute, we were talking about sexual trauma being the most underrated and unreported crime, right? People usually don't like to report this when it happened for many reasons and because of what it does to them. There are so many different issues that comes up within a person and what they have to suffer with when it comes to them being the victim of such a crime. They become powerless. They develop ongoing fear, depression. They start blaming themselves, start to feel shamed, start feeling damaged because they were violated in secrecy. Because this is what the predators do. This is not something that they do. Ooh, the sun is beaming on me. This is not something that they do in the open. You know, they don't want anybody to know because this is for their opportunity. And they know it's nothing good, but it is to benefit them and the pleasure that they get from it. And it's also, this is an important point, it's a generational curse. And these people cannot be helped. These people can never be helped. And it's something that they'll do it to you, and they might pause for a while, but it's gonna happen to somebody else by that same person, right? On and on. It's an ongoing situation with them. That's it's like a disease for them. It's a curse, and it's something that they don't give up because it's something that's very passionate for them. It's something that pleases them, and it doesn't matter how much hurt you get out of this situation. They don't even care about that part. They don't even want to think about that part. It's all about pleasing them and them doing it for their own opportunity. For some people, it takes years for them to talk about it. For some people, talking about years, some people don't speak about it at all. They keep it within themselves, they stay burdened, and it just ride their backs for the rest of their life, right? And these are people that they become miserable, they live depressed, they don't have any zeal to move forward, to try and get something good out of life. Not all, some, right? Because this is such a big burden that it overcomes, it overshadows everything that they're doing in their life, right? So it's a very damaging and terrible situation for most. Very damaging and terrible situation for most. And that's the reason why I wanted to really touch on this subject today. You know, because people are suffering. A lot of people out there are suffering, and we don't know. We don't know what they're carrying. We don't know what they're carrying. So it's a major subject, and it's a very important subject. A lot of reasons why people don't speak is also because they're afraid of how people will judge them, right? They want to speak to somebody. They're eager for help. They want help, but who can they speak to? Because somebody coming against you secretively, right? And like I said, most times it's somebody in your own circle. That puts you in a position where it's like, who can I trust? Who can I really talk to? You know, and then again, another thing is, who are they going to tell? Can I trust this person to help me and keep this situation for me just between me and them? Or are they going to go and share with a few other people, which is something you don't want, right? Another thing is, they might start questioning you. Why didn't you get help? Why didn't you try and stop the situation? And they have no idea or no clue what this situation has done to you and the fear that you have gotten out of this situation itself. It brings a lot of emotional pain, and that's another thing that prevents you and prevents others from talking about it. It's a situation that you don't even like to remember. You don't even like to think about most of the time, than to even know that you have to sit down and express this to someone, right? Finding the right person to talk to. Who's gonna believe me? That's another important thing. Who's gonna believe me? How can I prove the situation to them? Because like I said, it's something that's done in secret. So with you telling someone, how can I prove to them that this really happened? What if they really want to know that it really happened? How can you prove it? Okay, hold on. So a lot of times also people don't speak up because, like I said, most times the violators are people that are in your circle. Most of the times it's the person that's closest to you that are doing these things, right? The person in your immediate circle, you might have to sit at the dinner table with them. You might have to go to a family member's house and they're there, or maybe somebody that you see every other day because of a routine that you have. You know, it's most of the time it's someone that's very, very close to home that do these sort of crimes. A lot of times people don't speak because they are trying to protect that person's family. That's another important point. So that's another reason why a lot of people that experience sexual trauma don't speak up, because they're also trying to protect the person that's hurting them. They're protecting their family and they're hurting in the midst, right? The longer you wait to talk is the more they have control over you. If you don't speak about it the first time, that's when the situation escalates and it rises and it gets worse and it gets out of hand. So it's always important that if this thing happened to you, you speak out the first time you reach out to someone, right? A lot of times people don't speak also because they're threatened. They're threatened with what? I'm sorry, there's a big dog in the park. A lot of times they're threatened with what the person that's violating them are telling them what they will do if you speak out and things of that sort. Okay guys, so I had to change location and get in a vehicle because someone had a dog in the park, a big bulldog, and the bulldog was taking control of them and even tried jumping on someone. So I had to pick up my blanket and get off that grass really quick. Right, so I just want to finish this topic so I can share it. I think we left off speaking about the control that your violator has over you when you don't speak out the first time, right? They gain so much control over you and you're being violated now over and over and over again. So it becomes a situation where they now have the opportunity of being fully in control over you, and because you didn't reach out for help in the first or second time, the situation just keeps getting worse. I'm gonna also a lot of times what was I saying, when people don't speak out because of a lack of trust, right? And how they're being judged. I was in a situation where someone really, really close to me, person that I would never expect this from, mentioned to me and said, for some reason they were really loud one day and just over the top, and they mentioned and said, oh, they heard about my situation from someone, and who are they to believe because they wasn't there. And imagine, this is someone that's dear to you, someone that you love, that in the midst of your hurt and carrying this burden along with you, someone can really utter those words. So just to show you, you know, what it can do to others. And this is some of the reasons why people don't speak. This is some of the reasons why people carry this burden around and keep it within themselves and suffer with depression and all different type of things, you know, and mess up their sanity, their mental space, and even get to deeper depths than that. Their overall health is destroyed, right? Going about their everyday routines. In here, they're messed up. They're damaged, right? Because of what someone else did for their own opportunity. A lot of times people have to get medical attention because these predators are carrying all sorts of diseases and you don't know what's going on with them, and you have to find out how to protect yourself, right? When you stay silent, you're only denying yourself of help. So I'm telling you, if you're someone that's going through this, get help. Get help. Being silent doesn't make it any better. It only makes it better for them, right? You want to be able to help yourself. You want to be able to be uplifted. You want to be able to gain back your inner strength. You know, you want to be able to grow. And in doing that, you cannot stay silent. You have to, at some point, get out there and get some help. If you can't see it or gain the courage within yourself to help yourself, you have to get out there and get help. Also, a lot of times people use excuses and they say things like, oh, she caused it on herself, or, well, not really he in this situation, but because she always dressed sexy, or she's flirtatious, or she's promiscuous, and that's why they deserve it. Don't let them use that to justify what they have done, right? Because in most cases, that's not the case. That's not the case. They're only looking for some type of reason to defend themselves and their weaknesses. In my case, speaking of using a justification of saying someone dress revealing, or someone is promiscuous, or someone is flirtatious, or someone have a sexy body. I was only about 90 pounds when I had to go through this terrifying thing. I was only about 90 pounds, right? I didn't even reach full stages of being a woman. And another thing, I've always looked younger than my age, right? So here I am, the body of a little girl, features of a little girl, but yet it just shows you that they're not partial in who they want to go after and who they want to prey upon and have their own way. You know, so don't let them use those excuses to justify their weaknesses. After you speak out, if you're going through something like this, after you speak out, you might lose friends, you may be scorned, people might not want to deal with you, because not everybody's going to believe your story, right? There's someone out there that has to defend themselves and not going to want anybody to believe that they would ever do something like that, or even have the guts to even go close to do it. So they already have their story set, you know, on what they're going to do to protect themselves. So don't be surprised if in the midst of you getting help for yourself that you lose people. I had a very, very close friend that I couldn't reach for years. And I wondered what happened. I couldn't understand. If I can't reach that person, I know the person would reach out for me to find out if I'm good and so forth. But I couldn't reach that person for years. Finally, I had an encounter with the person, ran into the person, and the person made it known to me that they needed to talk to me. Okay, I was ready to speak. The reason why they just disappeared off the map and didn't keep in communication with me was because they heard of something that I did. And they thought they knew me as a person, and they couldn't believe it. So they just took themselves away. Right? This is someone I thought was very close to me, someone that cared about me. You heard a story, you believe what you heard, and instead of reaching out to your friend to find out what really happened, you decide to believe what you heard, and our friendship broke apart because of that. So just to show you, it's okay to lose people in the midst of trying to save yourself, because in the end, if that's how they deal with situations, it wasn't worth it from the beginning. At times you'll become like an outcast. Oh well. if you're suffering and these people are not by your side and they put the story how they want to put it, use that time and heal yourself. Make sure you find things to do, right? Occupy yourselves. There's a lot of things you can do to help with healing. Music, positive music, yoga, meditation. Join some clubs. You know, start getting creative with your hands. Read books. Start writing, whatever it is. Just use your time and stay active. Occupy yourself and do whatever it takes to keep your mind stimulating and not just being burdened by this damage and this torture and this trauma that you've been through. You know, those are just some of the key things that you can do to help yourself in the midst of losing others and being scorned and people not wanting to deal with you. That's their problem, because they still don't know the depth of your story, but they decide to judge it on how they want to judge it. In my topic, I said overcoming, forgiving, and growing. Some people might say, why would you want to forgive somebody that do something like that to you? Listen, you have no obligation to stand in front of them. And it's not necessary for you to stand in front of them and say, you piece of crap. You know, you jackass, for what you did to me. You know, I hate you, but I forgive you. You don't have to do that. You don't have to face the person. That forgiveness is for you. Right? You're taking a burden off your shoulder. You're taking a burden off your shoulder by forgiving that person, because now you're giving yourself time and you're giving your space. You're giving yourself the space to grow and to heal and to get rid of that baggage of negative energy that you're carrying by having anger against this person. You can still be angry with them, but you don't want to carry that load, because that's a heavy load. And in order for you to heal, you have to release that. You have to let that go a bit, right? So you can get within your inner self and do what you have to do for you. So forgiving doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to approach the person and I'm going to go to them and tell them, you know, I hate what you did to me, but I forgive you. No, they don't even know. They don't even need to know that you're going through that process of forgiving them, but it's helping you. You forgiving them is helping you. Let me see a few points that I have that I don't want to. Yeah, you wanna forgive. You wanna forgive, to let go of the regrets that eats up your valuable energy, right? You don't want to give them that part of you. You don't want to give them that part of you. You want to overcome. You want to overcome the situation and reconnect with your body and your feelings and coming back to the real you and what you have to offer to the world. You know, because there's so much within us, but if we don't release certain things, we won't have the strength to even move forward and get back to the groove of doing the things that we love or the things that we yearn to do and so forth, because we're so heavy carrying something else that's not doing any good for us. You know, it's a hurtful thing. It's a hurtful thing. It's a really, really hurtful thing, and it's something hard to let go. But in order for our development, we have to find the courage. We have to find the courage to move forward for betterment of ourselves, for growth of ourselves. You know, it's not that you're going to forget about it, but we have to figure out how to move forward. And there's also help out there. You know, I've never received help from anywhere. During my growth, I found the courage where I could sit within myself, and because I know my story, my only witness was the Almighty God. That kept me right there. That was very, very important to me. That's what kept me. I said, after a while, I said, you know what? It doesn't matter what Tom, Dick, or Harry had to say. as long as I know that God was my witness and I didn't need to explain anything to anyone, that kept me. That helped me, that nurtured me, and that helped me to grow. That helped me to grow through that situation. Just imagine, you know, I have to still see people that are connected to this person. Little things like that just bring everything back to me. You know, wondering how they look at me and how they see me, because sometimes when you love a person so much, you don't even want to know that that person would do something like that. So you put that behind you and turn the story into how you want it to. And these things gave me fear. Made me wanting to make the choice of just being by myself and not being around these people, because they weren't 100 for me. You know, there was no compassion when it came to me and what I went through. Excuse me. Forgiving yourself. You didn't do anything wrong, but the only reason why you want to forgive yourself is for not being braver, for not being stronger, for not being a fighter. And to be honest, if I had true warriors around me, if I had real people that cared about me, you know, and my well-being, my situation would have never turned out to be the way how it turned out to be. But I didn't have that. I had myself. The few people that I had that would have killed for me were distant. They were far. They wouldn't have been able to help me, you know? And I feel like a lot of neglect that I had in my life led this damaging thing to happen to me. But I wouldn't really say I don't regret it. I don't regret it. How do I say this? I do regret it happening to me. I wouldn't wish it on anyone else. But at the same time, the strength that I developed from it, the awareness that I developed from it, I am truly, truly, truly grateful. I'm truly grateful. It's a very hurtful situation. It's a situation that I've been told. I was told years ago by someone. They pulled me over and they said, "This happened to you before?" Because they can tell by my reaction to certain things. So I'm concluding the video, right? Concluding the video. So for people out there that's been violated, men, women, boys, girls, and trust me, people, boys go through this too, right? Sorry about the interference from my it's my dash cam. But boys go through this too. So don't think it's just girls or just women. You know, little boys go through this damage, and just imagine when they go through it by men, how damaged this is, and it can even follow them to adulthood. You know, so it's a really, really, really sensitive subject, and we have to be cautious of how we deal with people that's dealing with this trauma. You know, because it's very, very, very damaging. Let's talk about help. If you've been through anything of that sort, if you can't find it within yourself to help yourself, get help. Go out there and find out how you can get help. Right? There's many places out there where you can speak to someone that you don't even know. Someone that have no one to share your story with, but they're willing to help you 100%. You know, you can use Google. There's so many places out there. Therapists, some you have to pay for, some your insurance might cover. So there is help if you want help. Stop blaming yourself. None of this is on you, right? None of this is on you. Stop blaming yourself. Stop judging yourself. Stop blaming yourself. Also, be selective about who you choose to tell about your trauma, your experience. Make sure it's someone that cares, someone that has empathy, you know, someone that's very calm. This person have to have this character for a long period of time, you know, not just someone that you think. You have to see it within them, you know, so you have to be selective about who you choose to talk to about this situation. If you decide that you know somebody that's going through this trauma and you want to help them, if they come and they confide in you, because trust after a situation like this is very, very hard. And if somebody come to you that has been through this trauma and they want to share their story with you because they feel like they can get help from you, you make sure you don't go to anyone else and speak about this situation without their permission. That's one of the worst things that you can do after them trying to figure out how to trust and being betrayed. You don't want this to happen to them all over again, right? So make sure you don't go out there after they speak to you about this and talk to someone without their permission. Recognize their courage, right? Recognize their courage, because anyone that can go and speak to someone in regards to a situation like this has to be very strong. It takes a lot for them to come and utter something so traumatizing, you know, after having to deal with it, and to come to speak about it is something that's very, very hard. Also, listen. Don't start asking questions when they start talking to you about it. Just give them both of your ears and just listen keenly in regards to what they have to say, right? Don't ask too much questions. Don't ask too much questions about why didn't they try to get help, or you're only gonna push them back to start blaming themselves all over again. So these are just a few of the points on what you can do to help someone else that's dealing with this trauma, someone that might find some trust in you and decide that, you know what, this person can help me and I want to talk to this person. You know, make sure you have empathy, make sure you care, make sure you give them your full support, give them practical support. You know, if they have so much trust that they feel like they can come to you, let them know, listen, I want to get you help. Give me the chance to find somewhere. Give me the chance to find you therapy. You know, give me the chance to find you a counselor. Excuse me. Someone that you can talk to that can help you to overcome this situation. The last thing is to protect your circle, especially if you have children. Protect them, speak to them, communicate, build relationship that will help them to trust you and to believe in you, and know that if they come near to going through these traumas, they can come to you and talk to you as soon as somebody violates them, right? This is my message for today, and I hope that if you're dealing with any sort of this trauma, I pray that your healing comes quickly. You know, I pray that you overcome. I pray that you learn to forgive. I pray that you grow, and I pray that you're uplifted. If you have to do that with by yourself, you know, and if not, I pray that you can be uplifted by someone else. And I hope that there is something, no matter how small it is, from my message, I hope there's something that you can get from it. Because if I can do it, you can, right? If I can do it without help, you can do it, right? So let's get into our inner self. Let's find our strengths and use that to heal ourselves. It won't be tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to happen overnight, but we have to hold on to the things that are going to help us in our healing process. All right, people, thank you for your support once again. If you've reached this far in my message, I appreciate you so much. You know, I appreciate you a million, and just thank you for following me on my journey and helping me to grow more in speaking out and just listening to my story and allowing me to share my story with you. One love. Blessings until another week. Peace.